Welcome everyone. Waheguru Ji Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Welcome everyone to the Kids Job Fair. We thank you for joining us today. This past year has been filled with challenging times, but that just means that it's more important than ever to join together and celebrate Sikh Heritage Month. So thank you to everyone for being here today. We are delighted to be joined by 5 professionals from our community today, each with different jobs to give you guys a view on the various paths you can follow in the future. My name is Balkaran Singh. I will be one of the hosts for this event along with Vivek Singh. And before we get started, I'll let you guys know that you will have the opportunity to ask questions to each of our guest speakers. Please put your questions in the Q&A box while they are presenting, and they will be answered after the presentation is over. So please welcome our first speaker, Dr. Raman Chawla.
Angie, you're muted still.
Yes. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. I want to take this opportunity to thank Sikh Heritage Month Committee for inviting me to be part of this special program for children. Can you hear me well?
Yep, all good.
Perfect. So thank you again for inviting me and to be able to share with you all my profession. So if I could have everyone or whoever wants to just want to see by show of hands, who's interested in pursuing medicine? By medicine, it's not only doctors. Medicine, medical profession includes nurses, pharmacists, social worker, physiotherapist, occupational therapist. And I work with a lot of amazing colleagues at the hospital, and a lot of them are from our Sikh community. I'm very proud to work with these. So just before I get started on what I do, could I just see by raise of hands, am I able to see that are there here folks who are actually really interested in pursuing medicine?
Yeah, you guys can all type that in the chat if you'd like.
Yeah, that would be nice to see. It gives me confidence and it gives me motivation. So I'm going to pause for a few seconds here. And it's okay, I will not feel hurt or if you are
actually
shy.
We do have a few hands raised in the attendee
Okay.
list. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So that's wonderful. So it's good to know. So I'm an internal medicine specialist at Queensway Carleton Hospital for the last 14 years. And I get asked a lot, what does internal medicine mean? What do I do? So I see patients with complex medical problems. When they have high blood pressure, can be managed by family doctor, or they have heart disease, stroke, cancer. I see them. And latest in the list since the pandemic started, I see COVID patients at the hospital. I see patients in emergency when they come, when they're seen by emergency doctor and they can get home, they consult me. When they are admitted, I directly admit patients from the hospital and take care of them. And I see patients in clinic as well. And I absolutely love what I do. A bit of, I just thought it would be nice for you all to know my story, like how did I become a doctor? So I actually was born in India, in Jalandhar. I did my schooling in Jalandhar, Punjab. When I was in grade 9, I actually wanted to become a singer. And my parents actually got really worried. They thought I'm not interested in studying. And I think like all your parents, my parents sat me down and actually wanted me to study further. And they aspired to see me become a doctor. And I loved science too. So I think that was something, and I'm glad they did. Because I decided after that, seeing that how my parents are working hard and they want me to succeed, I decided to pursue medicine. So I actually passed my medical entrance exam in 1992 and actually got entrance in Government Medical College, Amritsar in 1992 and was studied in Amritsar for 5 years. And I absolutely loved it there because the best part of studying in Amritsar was that we got to visit Golden Temple every week, and even sometimes more than a week, because I felt that that was part of me growing up, that faith always stayed, as well as the delicious food. Amritsar is known for, awesome food. So I really enjoyed. And once I finished my MBBS in 1997, a few years later, my family decided to move to Canada. So I came with them and I decided to start, now I need to pursue further to get MD. was very difficult at the time. I was told by a lot of people it's difficult to get into medicine. But I think having the family support and encouragement and believing in faith and hard work, I passed my exams to get into medicine, and I got admission in internal medicine residency in Memorial University in Newfoundland. So I moved there in 2002. And I did my first 3 years at Memorial, and then the final year of my residency, which was a specialist year, I did it in Dalhousie University in Halifax. So, and I got married in between. Both my husband and most of you know he's a doctor too. So in 2007, we moved to Ottawa. We wanted to be close to our family, and we both got a job at Queensway-Carleton Hospital in 2007. And we have been at the hospital since. It's been 14 years now, and we both love working there. We have 2 kids. Most of you know them. They're actually both born at Queensway-Carleton Hospital, and they're part of the community. And along with practicing medicine, I have been part of a lot of fundraising events, and as I felt that it is just part of our community and Sikhism to help and share. So I actually was part of the Epic Walk for cancer care, raising funds for cancer care for Ottawa Regional Cancer Foundation and our Queensway-Carleton Hospital Foundation for 5 years. I led the team from the hospital and every year for 5 years. And then we actually organized a Seva Walk for on behalf of our Ottawa Sikh community in 2015 and 2016. And 2 of my committee members are actually speaking today, and it's nice to see them, Jasdeep and Jagdeep Parhar. We worked really hard, and it was really amazing to collaborate together. We raised more than $200,000 for our acute care of the elderly unit, and a nursing station was named after Ottawa Sikh community. And it's amazing when I work there, and I feel very proud when I sit in that nursing station and I see the sign and I see that how our hard work got recognized, and the staff always remember that. And it just gives me, I feel very proud. Talking a bit about what do I do, my job as a doctor, I love helping people, especially, teaching or telling people how important it is to look after their health and well-being. If we don't have good health, then we can't look after others. We can't, so it's satisfying experience when I see patients get better and they go home. And teaching people the importance of their health gives me joy and satisfaction. And since last year, it's been really challenging managing our lives. My husband and I both are doctors, and we had to really balance. We continuing to balance every week because we both being healthcare, we are needed there. But again, I believe when we have hope, we have faith, we work hard, we do the right thing. I think life becomes very worthwhile and meaningful. Even though the hard times, they don't last forever. But, we have been seeing patients with COVID and been helping them, treating them, guiding them actually that how important it is to follow public health precautions. Wear a mask. And I tell my children, I said, mask is the new makeup. So just be prepared this year. That's buy different kinds of masks, and this is going to protect you from getting infections. So very, very important. Wash your hands, and continue to follow public health precautions. And seeing the third wave hit us so hard, it's even become very, very important. And people need to be very diligent about their health. Look after yourself because this is spreading. So I think that continues to be part of me, that it is very important to share this with the community that, please take care of your health. Our health and well-being are our assets. Do not take them for granted because once we lose, it's just very, very tough on us and for our families. I also find it's very important to believe in having faith in Gurbani. And I always abide by Guru Nanak Dev Ji's message, Naam Japo, Kirt Karo, Vand Shako. And I feel that it has become our responsibility to teach our children. If we follow and do the right thing, our children actually follow us. they're like sponges. They absorb what we teach them. So, and even since last year, after my daughter's continued persuasion that she actually once saw Raj Academy play Rabab, and she just was like, I want to learn this. And and she asked me to learn with her. And I think after 2 years of her persuasion, I decided to take learning of Rabab and with Raj Academy. And I'm very proud, even though I wanted to quit a lot of times. It was so hard to, do this, but I'm glad we passed grade 3 this year. We've been learning for almost a year now. And now we are in grade 4. And it's been absolutely, I would say that's learning Gurbani and Kirtan, doing Kirtan is actually very helpful to maintain peace. And it actually helps us in continuing to do what we do in our professions. It's very satisfying. So bottom line is that medical profession is a very noble profession. And like other professions, if you are interested in pursuing this profession, make sure you're passionate. Passion starts, like if this is something that you are interested in, you're passionate about, commitment is needed. Find mentors to help you make the right choice. Take your time. There is no rush because this is a long field. It almost takes about 15 years to actually become a doctor. I would say that, in here, you have to take 3-4 years of life science. Then you go into medical school, which is 5 years. And then MD is about 3 to 4 years, depending on the specialization you do. But at the end, so there is a lot of hard work. Studying goes all life. I still study every day to make sure that I'm not wrong. I have to make the right decision only if I have the right knowledge. I work hard. I'm disciplined. I'm able to help. So, of course, faith and hope are essential ingredients. So that's all I would say I have to say today about my profession. And feel free to ask me any questions. I'm happy to stay around. And again, I wanted to say that not only be a doctor, nurses, we are in acute need of nurses, pharmacists, social workers, physiotherapists, occupational therapists. I would not be able to do my job if it was not for the collaboration with our amazing team. So consider these, and there are, I would say that, amazing members in our own community who I work with at the hospital, and I'm very, very proud to work with them. So yeah, please, feel free. Thank you once again for inviting me, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Chawla. Now we can get to the questions. I see some in the Q&A. The first one is, what's your kids' names?
So Jaydeep, he's in grade 7, and Disha is in grade 5.
Okay, thank you. Now, how many years do you need to study in a university to become a doctor?
Yeah, so like I said, after grade 12 here, you go into a life sciences program. Like I think it's about 3 to 4 years, and then you write the exam. So medical school here again is 5 years. So you get the degree, MD, and then you go into specialization. So which family medicine is 2 years, internal medicine is 4 years. And then if you decide to do become a cardiologist or a kidney specialist or, there are other specializations. So after 3 years of medicine, you need to do 2 more years. So I would say give and take about, commit to your life about 15 years of core studying to actually learn about medicine, and it's a worthwhile. I can tell you that I will, if I were to pick again, I will pick medicine, even though it's just, for me, it's very satisfying. And I thank my parents every day for really being strict and and getting me to, even though it was their dream, but I actually found out when I started studying that I loved it.
Yeah, okay. We have one more. Did you always know that you wanted to become a doctor?
Actually, after my parents told me. I kind of knew that, but I love singing too. So I just sort of like, I was used to be very fascinated with these professional singers. So I was like, my God, that's such a flashy life. I would want to do that. But then my parents were like, no, 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 no. This is continue to study. And you know what? I continue to sing now. I still do kirtan. And and again, not saying that singing is not a good profession. It is, but please do study. Studying is, and it became very clear to me after grade 10 that I loved science. So, and especially biology and chemistry. So yeah, I wanted to marry a doctor too. So I got my wish fulfilled when I came here. I met Jasmeet Chawla. So most of you know him. And yeah, it's been great because I just felt a doctor can understand a doctor. No, again, no offense. It was my choice, and I'm very fortunate. So thank you.
All right, I think that's all the questions. Thank you again, Dr. Chawla.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me over again.
No problem. Now we will move on to our next speaker, Jasdeep Bajwa.
Hello.
Anju, we can hear you.
Okay. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh to everyone. I'm just trying to see if my video is on. Can anyone confirm if
yes, yes, it's on.
Oh, okay. All right. Awesome. Thank you. So first of all, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh to everyone. Thank you to all the volunteers of Sikh Heritage Month for putting this together. I've been able to join a few of other events that you guys organize, and it's such a well-organized stuff. So good job, guys. Thank you for giving me the time to be here today and share about my profession, what I do, and perhaps answer any questions that anyone might have about my profession. So first of all, I'll talk a little bit about myself, who I am, where I come from, and then we'll go on to the job and the requirements for the job. So as some of you know, my name is Jasdeep Singh Bajwa. I was born in India. I was 21 years old when I immigrated here in Canada in 2001. Joining the police service has always been my dream. Even back in India, that's what I wanted to do. I was hoping to join the Indian Police Services by doing the IPS exam. But before I could do that, family decided to move here in Canada. And, first few years, like any other immigrant family or any immigrant person would do, been working a few jobs here and there. And then in 2004, I was able to join the Ottawa Police Service and graduated from the Ontario Police College in 2004. I've been serving since then, and in 2017, I got promoted to the rank of sergeant. So that's just a quick overview about myself. I've 2 young kids, wife and mother in my house. Yeah, so talking about the job itself, it is a very rewarding job, doing the police officer's job. It really fits in with the Sikhi. Sometimes I get asked, what it's like to be a Sikh and be a police officer. And my answer to that usually is, it feels like I'm practicing my Sikhi, my religion, and getting paid for it at the same time, right? As you guys know, our principle, Sikhi principle is seva, right? Seva and saint soldier. We are saint for the most of the time, and when time comes to raise sword. And the same principle applies to the police job. we are there to serve day in and day out, serve the community. And if and when that time comes to protect, we are to protect them at any cost. So it's like practicing my religion and getting paid for it. That's the saint soldier concept. Obviously, this job or any other job, like any other job, it has its own challenges. You know, it has its own pros and cons. So, you know, we can't always say like this job is all you have is just the best things, right? There's always downside to it as well. So I just want to share some of those. If any one of you is interested in joining police down the road, you have to be really determined to serve. Otherwise, it can be a very difficult job and long 30 years of career. Just think about it. When everyone is off, enjoying on the weekends, on long weekends, on holidays, they're spending time with their families and friends, enjoying and having fun. The police officers will be out there on the job, protecting everyone. So you lose a lot of social life because in our social lives, most of our friends and family don't work shift work. They're Monday to Friday jobs. So when they plan something on the weekends, you won't necessarily be able to go because you have to work. And same thing, if you want to plan something, you will be planning on the weekdays when you're off, then nobody else will be able to come and join you. So you get isolated from your friend circle, your family circle. Then relationships start to break. Those are the things to keep in mind when deciding to join, whether to join or not. It also takes a toll on your personal life. Eventually, most of you, will, if you're not already, will be getting married, expanding your families. It also, the shift work also negatively impacts your personal family life. A similar way that I explained about family and friends, for your spouses, husbands, wives, the expectation sometimes is that you would be there for all those events, for all those moments in extended family and stuff, but now you can't. When you're working night shift, our body's naturally built to work during the daytime and sleep at nighttime for rest. That's how our body's naturally built. Then when you go against that, or when you do that for 30 long years, it does take a toll on your life. And then you're often grumpy, you're often not in happy mood. And then those things contribute to how healthy your personal relationships are with your spouses. So keep that in mind. There's a high divorce rate in the police officers. One of the biggest reasons is this shift work. It's often said that shift workers, not only police officers, but all shift workers, doctors, nurses, anybody, they on average live 10 years less because they are going against the nature, working at nights, working when you're supposed to be sleeping and stuff like that. So keep all that in mind. Other than that, a job has its own challenges on a day-to-day basis, like any other job would, but it's all rewarding. In the end, it's all rewarding. You are there to serve and protect. So the minimum requirement for the job on today's date is still you have to be 18 years or older. You would have to have a permanent residency status or citizen in Canada. And minimum education requirement is grade 12 still. There's talks that it's going to go to the minimum requirement going to be a bachelor's degree. but at the moment it's still grade 12. And it also requires a lot of volunteer work. So on your own time, you need to do a lot of volunteer work. You need to show that you're not choosing to join this profession for money. It is that you have that desire to help people, to serve people. And you can show that by doing volunteer work, volunteering at any place, Gurdwara, Mandir, shelter, food bank, anywhere you like. But you have to have a lot of volunteer work. But once you join, you got to go through some tests. You got to go through some interviews. Once you get hired, there's a training within the police service. Then you go to the Ontario Police College, and then you go through the basic constable training. You get graduated from the Ontario Police College, then you come back to the police service, and then you spend 500 hours, 3 to 6 months with another trained coach. We call it coach officer. And then you spend that time getting trained in the field. So often you will see 2 officers sitting in a car, and oftentimes that's one is getting trained, the other one is training him. So once you complete that training, then you are ready to be deployed on your own, and then you start taking calls. So at the beginning, you would start on patrol. Everybody must start their job there, taking 911 calls. Anything from accident to murder to stabbing to shooting to 2 people fighting to anything, you would respond to those 911 calls. And then after 5 years plus, then you can start to choose your career. Your career path, like which direction do you want to go? And there's so many options in here. It's not just what it looks like, you wear a uniform and this is just one thing that you do. And there's so many different things within the organization or within any police service that you can do. For example, if you're good in science, you could join the forensic science section. If you're good at computers, you can use the computer forensic science section, where you can examine computers, mobile phones, or other electronic devices. If you're good at math and stuff, you could join the collision investigation section, where that involves big collisions where people actually die or seriously get injured. And then the reconstructionists actually go back to the scene and reconstruct the entire collision that happened. So based on their training and based on their numbers that they can put in with equipment, they can reconstruct what actually happened without actually seeing it, right? So it's pretty cool stuff that you can do. And obviously, being a detective, you can be an investigator, investigating any of the crimes or anything that are happening. So you can become an investigator. So there's a variety of things that you can do. It's not only just being on the road and doing one thing. Traffic, another thing that you can do. But overall, the policing profession is a very rewarding profession. Like I said earlier, how often do you get to practice your religion and get paid at the same time, right? You're held to higher standard, you're held accountable, you have a higher character that you must uphold and be ready to serve. And people, when you go out in the public, and most of the time, public is very respectful and they give a lot of regard for this profession. So, if you choose to join this profession, I highly recommend you do. We do need a lot of representation from different communities, and our communities is one of that. I was the first police officer to wear turban, pug, the star in the Ottawa Police Service in 2004. And at the moment, we only have one more police officer who wears pug in the Ottawa Police Service, and that also was the direct officer. He used to work for Toronto Police and got transferred here. So what I'm trying to say is that we still haven't hired any more turban wearing police officers in the last 17 years. So we need to do more. Some of our members have tried in the past, but we need to encourage all of you that are listening to this. Think about it. It's a very well-paid job, lots of benefits. If you think about it, shifts are long, but you only get to work 14 days in a month because, we work almost 11 hours a day. So a lot of days off, you get to spend a lot of time doing things that you like to do. So, I highly encourage everyone to join the police service. And if there's any questions or anything, I'll leave my contact information in the chat section. Anyone please feel free to contact me, whether it's via email or phone. And I'm always there to assist you and guide you through the whole process, one-on-one if you need to. Thank you very much for the time. I guess we will have just enough time to go through the questions. Babek Singh, do you want to read the question you want me to answer, or you want me to go ahead and read the questions and answer right myself?
I'll read the questions. You can answer.
Okay.
So the first question was, did you always want to join the police force?
Yes, I did. Even back in India, that was my dream. A lot of us who grew up in the 80s and 90s in India, we have seen so much. The police isn't, or still isn't, it wasn't definitely back then seen as a noble profession there. A lot of extrajudicial killings, a lot of stuff that was done. And we cannot change anything if we don't join that system. If we wanted to change anything, we need to join. So that's how I was thinking, like if we wanted to change the way the police service in India, or especially in Punjab, works, I need to join that system and be part of that change. But I was fortunate enough to move to a great country like, Canada. So I pursued that dream, and here I am today talking to you.
Okay, so our next question. Did you feel that being a Sikh immigrant created any difficulties on your journey to become a police officer?
Yes and no. There are a few. I would share this one experience, and again, a lot of the times, it's like how we feel, right? Sometimes it doesn't necessarily have concrete evidence to support it. So when I was going through the testing process, at the time it was Applicant Testing Service, an organization who did all the testing. So I passed all the tests and stuff, and a part of the next step was a second test, which is called video simulation test. So in a similar way that we're sitting now, that's pre all this computer or online stuff. So you would be sitting and talking to a camera and talking to stuff and responding to stuff on the TV, and the camera is recording you. So I went to do that test, and I used to have my dadi, it was Kulli Prakash dadi open, and I went to do that test with Kulli dadi, and I didn't pass the test. They failed me. 3 or 6 months later, I went back and did the test again, and at that time I tied my dadi, put a suit on and everything, tie on, looked more professional, and I knew the question would be somewhat similar, and my answers were pretty much similar, what I did 6 months prior, but this time I passed it. So I don't know if having Kulli Dadi made any impact, but till date, I still think back in the days it probably did. So that's just one example, but there's many throughout, like going through steps, and once you join the police service, then there's another thing, like who is this guy wearing a pug? People have never seen you. Public hasn't seen anybody wearing a turban, and then the members who are working for the police service have not seen anybody who's wearing a pug and being a police officer. So there are many challenges inside and outside, but with Guru's grace, you take one step at a time, and you can overcome any challenges that come your way.
Thank you. So the next question, what's one of your most memorable stories or experiences in the workforce?
I think I need to start writing these things. I'm very very bad at remembering things, which is not really a bad thing. I think it's a good thing because we see so much bad stuff, negative stuff, and it's good to forget about stuff, right? And so it doesn't haunt you a few years down the road. And I think a similar thing with good stories. I'm just trying to think, what's a good story? There's so many. When you so I went to this I don't know, I don't know if it's a feel good story or what, but I remember I was on Bank Street right in front of the now called TD Canada Place, but it was used to be the Lansdowne Park. So I was just traveling on the road, and I heard on the radio that somebody got into an accident. The pedestrian got hit by a car. So I'm first one on the on the scene as I approach there, and I see this young person lying on the road, bleeding all over from his face and everywhere. And sometimes, like, what do I do now? Do you panic? Right? You sort of panic as well. At the same time, you're trying to do what you are trained to do, right? So as far as I remember, I think I put him in a recovery position because he wasn't responding. We didn't used to have defibrillators in the car at the time. I put him in a recovery position that sort of opened his airways, and perhaps he started breathing again. And by that time, ambulance arrived and sort of took care of it. So sometimes just a few seconds can save somebody's life, right? Like it's feel good story that, I'm not saying that I probably saved his life, but I'd like to feel that probably I saved his life by putting him in a recovery position, and then he started breathing again. But there's so many stories like this.
All right, thank you. So next question, have you ever dealt with hate while being on duty?
Yes, a lot. By, unfortunate to say, by members of the police service as well, and members of the public as well. Sometimes people don't know who you are, and then they just have their own ideas. Once I pulled somebody over for disobeying a sign going through a no one-way street. And this gentleman was from Quebec side. And as soon as I pull him over, I walk up to his car. So he looks at my pug and he starts screaming obscenities, calling me this and that. And, why are you wearing that diaper, that towel on your head, this, blah, 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 blah. And you name it, right? Because he had never seen a police officer wearing a pug. All I had seen is probably what media is showing Osama bin Laden and those kind of stuff. Those kind of people wearing pug around, especially around that time, talking about 2004, 2005, soon after the 9/11. So yes, I dealt with the hate a lot. So I dealt with that individual. And again, the take away from this is you don't let those things affect you. Don't let hate affect you and how you respond. So my response to that was, I still dealt with him in the same way that I would to anyone, even the person who says, thank you for your job and everything, or said whatever good things to me. I dealt with him in the same way. My actions didn't change the way I treated him after. I still gave him similar ticket, which is lesser fine, that I was giving to everybody else at that spot that day. So I explained it to him, and in the end, he apologized before he left. He said, I'm sorry, I didn't know it. And that he left on a good note, that anytime he sees a turban wearing person, his perception, I hope, has changed to some extent, because he didn't have to apologize. I dealt with him, but he apologized and said he was wrong. So you will deal with hate no matter where you work, where you live. What makes difference is how you deal with hate and how you react to hate.
All right, thank you. So next question, what makes a good police officer? Like, what type of person do you need to be?
Good question. The best quality of police officer is person who is ready to serve. Selfless service without anything expecting back. You are ready to serve. That's why the volunteer work is very important, to show that you are a person who is ready to serve the community. So that's when even our motto, and most of the police services, serve and then comes protect. So the person who has the quality of selfless service, is known to do service in the community, is the best candidate, the best person for the police officer's job.
All right. So how long have you been with the Ottawa Police?
17 years. I started in 2004.
All right. Just one more question here. Someone's just curious how much firearm safety training you guys do, or how much is required?
Yeah, I mean, we could always use more training, but the amount that we get, there's one mandatory training once a year that you need to. It's a provincial qualification. It's mandated. Every police officer has to do that and meet that minimum requirement. That's the minimum requirement after you pass the initial training. But the initial training at the police college or even at the training center here, you do get a lot of training at the beginning. It's part of the training. You do it every day, every other day. You use certain hours on the shooting range. You do the training, then you go to the police college. The police college, just like any other academic center, right? Everything has, like, you have a period for shooting, you have a period for defensive tactics, you have a period for communication, tactical communication. So it sort of fits in, and you sort of go and spend an hour or two every day or every other day. And once you've completed, there's a pass or fail component. So you have to be able to demonstrate you're able to safely handle firearms and conduct all the drills that are required. And once you pass your training, and then obviously you do your minimum once a year requalification, provincially mandated. But if somebody wanted to, we also have range safety officers, like I have been myself. So as long as you have a range safety officer with you, we can go to the range and practice shooting if we wanted to.
All right. So thank you. And thank you everyone for all the questions. Now we'll be moving on to our next speaker, which is Jagdeep Prahar.
Hello, Vivek Singh, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Excellent. Okay, Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. ਇਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਹੈਰੀਟੇਜ ਮੰਥ ਮਨਾ ਰਹੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ very good effort on your part to organize this, and I'm very happy to share my journey and whatever knowledge I have, which I can share or impart with you guys who are still at a stage where you are trying to decide which kind of profession you want to go and what you want to be. As most of you know that I am a real estate broker, but I'll tell you something more about me you may not know. I was born in India and I'm an engineer. I did my engineering from India. I was doing a job in India. Then I migrated to Canada in '96. And then I did my master's in computers from Ottawa U and worked in a high-tech company for almost 9 years. And then there was a switch of career. And I always had a liking about real estate, but I was not sure, because one thing, in India, real estate profession is not considered a very good profession. It's more like a salesperson's profession where people try to, people are not very honest when they're doing their business, and people are not very ethical when they're doing the business. But coming here, and here it is a totally different world. Anyways, after 9 years of doing a high-tech business, I switched to real estate world, and I can tell you that I'm liking it to a level that I am sometimes think that why did I not join maybe 10 years ago or something. Okay, so I'll tell you something more about real estate as a profession. When you say real estate, what does that mean? Real estate does not mean that everybody is just into the sales of real estate. Real estate, there are different professions within real estate. Somebody could be a developer, somebody could be a appraiser, somebody could be a salesperson, or there are many other fields within real estate that they're all clubbed under real estate loans. Okay, why you choose real estate? It's a totally different topic. Okay, why you should not choose real estate? That's again a different topic. But my important thing, which I want to share with you guys, is whether you're picking a police service job or a doctor's job, end of the day, you want to know why you want to do the job, why you want to be a police officer, why you want to be a real estate salesperson, or why you want to be a doctor. You just heard from Dr. Chawla and Jasdeep Singh Bajwa that both the professions you heard, they are somehow or in good ways related to Sikhi, which is seva. But I can tell you, even in real estate, you can do the same thing. You do your job with ethics. You do your job with the purpose of helping others. You are doing a great job in real estate as well. Okay, so when you say real estate, let's just talk about real estate as a salesperson. You know, real estate, when somebody is buying a house, whether it's a 500,000 or a 600,000, this is somebody's lifelong earnings. Many people don't even earn that much money or save that much money for working the whole life. As a real estate sales professional, you are working with that money and helping them buy a house. One mistake, if you don't act professionally, if you don't act ethically, you can do a lot of damage with a person. But if you work with the mindset of helping the person find the house which they would like to live in, their family will grow, family will prosper, and the house will meet family's needs. You are not only earning for yourself, but you're helping the family prosper. Their lifelong earnings will be put into a better use. So there you go. When you're practicing your Sikhi, when you're practicing all the rituals of our Sikhi culture, you can do a great job being a realtor. Okay. Then other jobs as a realtor you can think of is owning real estate. When you own a real estate and not paying rent, you are saving a lot of money. Okay, but in today's of this presentation, I want to talk to you why you want to be a realtor, okay, and or any other profession. You have seen Jasdeep Singh. He is very popular, very famous, not because he's earning a lot of money. He is popular and famous because he is serving the community with good dedication and with the intent of serving and helping. Dr. Chawla, same story. And you will see many other professionals, or even if you don't take a professional from our Sikh community, even otherwise, you can see a doctor who's a very good doctor, but he is not enjoying his life. You don't want to be that doctor. Imagine you're loving to be on a video game and you get a job of testing a video game. You'll be at your job, but you will not think you are doing a job. You're playing games at work and you're getting paid. Similarly, if you love to be in a real estate, okay, if you like real estate, if you love to be a real estate professional and love to help people, and now you get a job of a real estate sales professional, guess what? The whole day you are enjoying your day helping people playing with the real estate, watching real estate. So your life is not when you go to work, you don't feel like you're going to work. You feel like going to some playground. You see a sports athletes or instructors, they love to play, but when they go to work, they play. So you need to pick a profession which meets your personality. If your personality is to help people and you like real estate could be your profession. And me being in Ottawa, any of you who would like to learn more about real estate as a profession, I am always available for you guys and see how can I be of any help to you. If you want to come over and spend some time with me in my office, I'll be more than happy to show you all the details of what we do. It is not just a salesperson job. It is actually a job where you can help somebody make a right decision. Okay? Anybody has any questions about real estate, you can ask me. Otherwise, I'll just keep going for hours and hours. In the real estate, there's a residential part of real estate, and there's a commercial part of real estate, appraisals part of real estate, development part of real estate. All these professionals, great professionals. And if somebody says, is this an easy profession? Absolutely not. If somebody says it's an easy profession, I will say, yes, it is a very easy profession for me, because I think of it not as a profession where I need to go out and make some money. I go out with the mindset of I need to help somebody make a right decision. When you're working in any profession with that mindset, yes, of course you'll make money, but it gives you a lot of peace of mind, because you're trying to help somebody and you're trying to help others accomplish their goals. You take any other profession, you look at a painter. A painter, you might have heard a name of Picasso. He's just a painter, but he was so much passionate about his profession that he's on the world stage. You take a look at Mother Teresa. She was passionate about doing what she is doing, and look where she is. But if you look at any profession, whether it's a real estate, doctor, medical, whatever the profession is, the people who are passionate about their job, they are the only ones who are successful. So, my friends, if you are looking for a real estate profession, you need to see whether the qualities of a real estate profession are they within you. Otherwise, I am working almost 13 to 14 hours a day, if you call it working. But I am enjoying my life 13, 14, 15 hours a day. Depends how you want to look at it. But if you are not enjoying this life, 14 hours a day working, it will drain you out. It will make the life so frustrating that you have to work so many hours a day. Okay? I hope I'm giving the message to you guys that you need to find a profession as you are growing, the profession which you will love to do, where you have a passion to do something. Okay? Basing, looks like my time will be over.
Yeah, we'll just move on to the questions now.
Sure.
Okay.
Let's start with that.
The first question, what qualifications do you need to become a realtor?
Grade 12. That is the legal requirement to be a real estate professional. But to be a good real estate professional, you need to have the mindset of helping others and work long hours and enjoying this.
Okay, next question. What makes a good realtor?
I just answered. You need to have a passion to help people. You need to love real estate. You need to have a little bit of a curiosity and analytical mindset. If you're buying one house versus the other, if I'm buying the house with Mr. X, he has a different requirements. His family has a different requirement. His financial needs are different. So I need to put myself into that person's shoes to find a real estate for him. And if I'm talking about the next person, he may have a different requirements. Somebody has a small kids, They want to go to a elementary school, and I need to find a house close to elementary school. Somebody has a grown-up kid, they go to university, need to find a place for that. Somebody does not have a car, maybe we need to find a house close to park and ride. So you need to keep switching your mind according to the requirement. But to be successful, you need to have a passion to help, and your ability to accommodate with those. Those are the key requirements to be a successful realtor.
Okay. Next question. Can you tell us a story of your first day working in that field in computer engineering, and what skills do we need to become a realtor?
Well, you said first day of my job being a realtor or a computer engineer?
Yeah, a realtor, sorry.
Realtor. Okay. So when I was let go from Nortel in December 2004, and while working at Nortel, I was involved in the community 8-9 years, and we're trying to help the community. Whether you might have heard, you guys are all small. In the internet came around 1995-ish. And there were a couple of friends. We were at Nortel, and again, we were trying to help people. And we created a website in those days in 1998. Website name was pardesi.org. It was for all the immigrants. People were coming from out of town and they were not knowing where to go get grocery, where is a gurdwara, where to get the bus pass. Those things were not easily known for the people who are coming new to the country. So we created a website, and we started doing free websites for all our local businesses, Indian, Sikh businesses, and free of cost, we were putting their websites online, because in those days, website was a new phenomenon, and we were trying to help people. We were trying to organize Bhangra and Gidda events at Nortel. So again, I was trying to encourage and get involved with the community and help the community. So when I was let go from Nortel, and I started my real estate in December 2004, because I was not from the sales industry, and none of my family members were from sales industry, I was very skeptical whether the sales business is for me or not. But because I was helping people from last 8 years, even though I don't need to, because I was working and having a full-time job at Nortel, and people realized that this guy was helping, now this guy needs help, and they started working with me. And within no time, I started getting calls from all the friends and all the community members, and they wanted to do something with the real estate. And I did not leave one thing from 1996 when I came to Canada until today, is I am not looking at this profession to make money. I'm looking at this profession to help people, to help my client, help the person who wants to deal with me. That is the one thing. And since that day till today, I kept this as a fundamental philosophy that stuck with me. And that's how I am where I am now. And on the very first day, first transaction, when people came to me, and I exactly know the person, and I told him, I said, you know what, I have never sold a thing, but I did analysis on this house, and these are the pros of the house for your family, and these are the cons for your family. And the guy liked it. He said, I am glad that you're not a salesperson, because salesperson would be just selling me this house. So I didn't know how to do it. And then the second person came, I did the same thing. And then I realized that people in Ottawa, they don't want a salesperson, they want somebody who can help them. So I just, being an engineer, remained an engineer, being a person who wanted to help the people, I stayed with those same mindset, same principles, and this is where I am now.
Okay, last question. In comparison to computer engineering, Does real estate feel like a more stressful job?
Yes and no. If you play games, video games, sometimes it is stressful, right? When you're playing games and you're playing against somebody, you are maneuvering things online, and somebody is there on the other side shooting you in the video game. It is stressful? The answer is yes. In the real estate, the answer is yes. Like I said, we work almost 14 to 15 hours a day, 7 days a week. But if you start thinking of this as a profession where you're working 14 to 15 hours a day, it is very stressful. Sometimes you meet with the people who are not from your mindset, who treat you differently, who treat you like a salesperson. Things can get stressful. But if you keep your mindset that you are here to help somebody, if somebody wants help, yes, you are there to help, then it can be a little stress reliever. But otherwise, yes, it is more stressful. Yes.
All right, thank you. Now we can move on to the next speaker.
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
All right, we will now move on to our next speaker, Ravneet Kaur.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. First of all, I'd like to wish everybody a happy Vaisakhi, and I would like to thank the youth for organizing this event. It's really nice to see that the youth are stepping up. So my name is Ravneet Kaur Trehan. A little bit about myself. I was born in India. I immigrated to Canada when I was about 12, 13 years old. I came to Montreal, so I had a challenge of learning French because I was in Quebec. I had to learn it. And from there started my journey towards choosing a career. I did not know what I wanted to go into when I was in high school. I was very confused. All my parents told me was see what you like and go according to that. And so I decided to see what I really liked. And at the time, I really liked to travel. Travel was my passion. And exploring that, it led me to do a diploma into tourism in college, a 3-year program. And while I was in that program, my dream was to work for Air Canada. I didn't know what I wanted to do for Air Canada, but I wanted to work for Air Canada. And by the end of the 3 years, I did get a job with Air Canada. I first started at Aeroplan, which is their frequent flyer program. And I worked there for a year. I was on the phone answering calls. I really did not like that job, so I decided to look at other places within the company, and I applied to InFlight, and I got the job. So I've been a flight attendant for 25 years and a service director for 21 years now. As a service director, you are responsible for your flight attendants and passengers on board. So at times I can have up to 14 flight attendants working with me, depending on the size of the aircraft that we have. And I'm also the liaison between the flight attendants and the flight deck. So I'm the one who will talk to the captain, the flight first officer, get all the information from them and from the flight plan, and then give it to my crew regarding turbulence or whatever it may be. The most important part in our job is safety of the flight and passengers. I know that's not what everybody sees us doing, but that is essentially the first priority for all flight attendants and in charges is to make sure all passengers are safe and well taken care of. When we are preparing for a flight, we first look at who's going to be on board, how many passengers going to be on board, if there's going to be weather that is going to change our service, whether there is passengers who need special assistance. For example, wheelchair passengers requiring wheelchair assistance, or there's passengers that might have oxygen that they require throughout the flight. There might be babies, how many of them on board. So all of those things. We can also have prisoners or deportees. All of those things we need to look at before we even step on board the aircraft. And then pass that information to my crew so they are mentally prepared for it. And before the passengers step on board, we also need to inspect and make sure there's nothing suspicious on board an aircraft prior to all the passengers arriving. So safety has to be in the back of your head at all times. On board, we have to make sure that all the food is catered. We have all the supplies that we need, so we will check for those. We have to make sure we have all the drinks on board for the passengers. If it's a long flight, I will take care of assigning my crew breaks. On a longer flight, for example, when we go from Canada to Hong Kong or India or Japan, those flights can be 14, 15 hours long. So on those, our crew gets a break. And so half the crew will sleep and the other half will stay up and watch the passengers. Also, we have to show the safety video. We make announcements depending on where we're going. We make all announcements in English and French minimum, but also depending on the route that we're going to, we have route languages. So there's qualified route languages, flight attendants that will make those announcements. For example, for India, we will make Hindi and Punjabi announcements. One thing that I would like to mention is when you're on the ground, everything is available to you. You have support from everywhere. You can, if you need help, you can call police. If you need help for medical, you can call a doctor. When you're at 35,000 feet up in the air, your resources are really limited. So as a flight attendant, we are first aid qualified. We can fight fires. We do know how to tackle people and restrain them if we need to. So we are it. We are also the waitresses on board. We are also the ones who are protecting everybody. We are also the ones who are giving first aid to passengers. So we actually play into the roles of all of it. You can ask for assistance from the passengers, but at the end of the day, our training is what prepares us for all of this. There is a long training that you go through to become a flight attendant. It's about 6 to 8 weeks long. When we go on our layovers are anywhere from 10 hours in domestic or US, 10 hours to up to a day. When we go to international destinations, our layovers can range from 24 hours to 3 days at a time. We are free to go wherever we want on our layovers. Our transportation to and from the airport is arranged by our company. Our hotel is pre-booked by the company. You're given allowance. So your time on your layover is your time. You can do whatever you like. Motivation, what motivated me to be a flight attendant? So one of the aspects that everybody talked about in Sikhi is seva. So when I go to work, it's not just a job. Like when we go to Gurdwara, a lot of us will go in the langar hall and serve people, dal, prashada, pani, whatever it is. So it's the same thing that I do just at 35,000 up in the air. there is that seva aspect to it. I would like to make people's journey as easy as possible, especially when you're miles away from home. I would like to have the mothers who have babies traveling with them, give them a hand. It means a lot to people when they're not in their comfort zone, when they're not at home, when they're away from family or anybody else. And somebody's nice gesture can go a long way. So I was always been a people person. So, and I love to travel. I've been to a lot of countries because of this job, places where I maybe would have never gone, and I've been able to go and see and explore. And I still love that part of this job. Challenges were there's shift work. You work a lot of nights. You work a lot of weekends. You're away from families when they're celebrating, for example, Christmas time or Easter, all long weekends. When you first start, your schedule is very limited. You have to work long weekends. You have to be away from your own family and be happy about it. So that was challenging. I also, when I started as a flight attendant 2 years after, I decided to go back to school. And when I went back to school, I was working full-time and pursuing my degree in economics at Ottawa U full-time. So at that time, my challenges were I would be on my layover in a nice hotel in London, but I would be studying, because I wanted to have a degree as a backup. That was a very challenging time. For 2 years, I had to just devote my life to work and school. Following that, when I became an in-charge flight attendant, then I also had little children. I have 3 kids, as some of you know. They're a lot older now, but when I started, it was very hard to leave 3 children at home and go to work. And when I'm gone for 3-4 days at a time. So teamwork, my husband really stepped up and helped me out. He took care of my children with my in-laws, kept them home when I was away working. So those times were very challenging, but they're behind. There's still challenging times now because all the flying is very limited because of COVID-19. Flying is really reduced. I'm currently on a leave of absence, but I do hope to go back in the near future. I'm sure there will be challenging years ahead of me for a year or two, but reading Gurbani, connecting with the Guru on a daily basis, doing kirtan, all of those things give you inner strength, and then you can deal with all of these aspects. And then good times will come back again. This is what I've prepared so far for the presentation. I do have a picture to share with you, just to show you we have bunks. On board, and just a couple of pictures here, if you'd like to take a look at. Does anybody have any questions?
Okay, so first of all, thank you for speaking. We'll move on to the questions now. So what was your first flight as a flight attendant like?
So my first flight as a flight attendant, I was very nervous. It was just Toronto to Montreal. It was a rapid air flight, but on your first flight, they do make jokes. They try to trick you because they know you're a newbie. So one of the pilots told me, oh, out of this printer in the cockpit, there's a $20 bill coming out. Look. So I just laughed at it because I'm not that gullible. But I was very nervous. You're also very slow because everything that you're trained for as a flight attendant, all the training, you never actually use that because those are for emergency circumstances only, right? In case the aircraft drifts off the runway and you have to open your slides and actually take all the passengers out. So your training involves that, but that's not something that you practice on a daily basis. So I was very, very slow on my first flight. I was like, yes, what would you like to drink? And, you know, sugar, cream, and it was a rapid air. So people were like, no, you got to hurry up. You know, you can't keep talking. But yeah, that was my first flight.
All right. So how do you become a flight attendant like after high school?
So you need minimum just high school. And after that, if you have college as a tourism, that will help you, but it's not must. You can pursue colleges that offer tourism. You can have a degree and still become a flight attendant, but minimum is really grade 12. I think more important is experience. You need to have experience working with passengers. You need to have experience dealing with people. So if you can have any of those along with a degree or a diploma and a high school certificate, that's all you really need. But you need to.
Hello?
I think there's been a slight technical difficulty. In the meantime, why don't we move on to Daljeet Nirman? Yeah, we can see you and hear you. If you want to just get started.
You want me to start or I should
Yeah.
be looking?
Yeah.
So is everybody able to hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Thanks for this invitation. And it was indeed a pleasure listening to fellow panel members who are experts and well-known community leaders. I will be very brief about myself as I am more interested to listen to you and answer your concerns or questions. Before immigrating here, I was a senior legal manager at the largest financial institution in India with a portfolio of over $100 billion, and my wife was employed with the federal government in Delhi. So I moved here in the year 2000 at the age of 38 with my two sons who were at the age of 9 and 7 at the time. Studied for 2 years at the University of Ottawa and also completed my Masters of Law to become lawyer in 2004. And today, along with me, both of my sons are also lawyers with the federal government. I work for my living as a lawyer because in this way it is quite satisfying and helping the people to come out of their miseries and pains. But my actual passion and love is for the community service. And I can tell you very convincingly that this had helped me to a great extent in fulfilling my obligations as a board member at the Ottawa Police Services Board. In 2019, I was appointed to the Ottawa Police Services Board by the provincial government and responsible to govern the state of affairs of the Ottawa Police Service from hiring to firing, and at the same time ensuring that the community concerns are well taken, listened, and the gap between the community and the police is bridged, and that gap is minimized. So Ottawa Police Services employs more than 2,100 employees, both sworn and civilian. So sworn means the police officers, as Jasdeep Bajwa is, and the civilian employees. And in 2020, I was appointed to the Ontario Association of Police Services Board, which is in Toronto. So presently, I am leading the initiative on equity, diversity, and inclusion at the Ottawa Police Service, and also introduced various motions directing the Chief of Police of the Ottawa Police Service to follow the guidelines so that no member of the public who is racialized via turbans, as many of you during Jasdeep's presentation has raised that concern, hijabs, or if that police officer, sworn or civilian, is a person of color, to feel discriminated. One thing, as a police board member, I can tell you very convincingly that the police officer job is one of the most secured, which comes with great pension and benefits. I would strongly encourage you to consider this option seriously. It is a matter of record that in the past 2 years, since my appointment to the board, I have spent countless hours attending to various meeting issues on a daily basis. As Mr. Parhar and Mr. Bajwa, who is one of our police officers, told you during their presentation, that you don't work a day if you love your work. So managing a police service that big is not easy, but I love working and contributing to the cause of community. Though unpaid, it is quite enjoyable. And in a way, we are fulfilling the teaching of Sikhi. In the end, I can only say that you need to be honest and ethical in whichever profession or job you will be entering into in the coming years. And in fact, these are our Guru teaching. And I can guarantee that you may be the loser in the short term, but will be a winner in the long run. This I am telling you from my own personal experience, and is not a hearsay. For my professional details, if anybody is interested, you can visit my website or LinkedIn. And if you have any questions after today's presentation, feel free to reach me. I can be a mentor. I can advise you which path you should be following, what are the other options. To being a lawyer, just to be a lawyer in a private practice is only one of the options. I had a limited options because I came at the age of 38, became the lawyer at 41. So I did not have that options to enter into the federal government or something, but my boys have. So likewise, I will be happy to give those guidance to you. And I have been giving to various new lawyers and the law students who have been approaching me. I now open the floor for questions.
All right. Thank you for talking about your profession. So there's a question here in the Q&A box. What do you need to become a lawyer in Canada?
To become a lawyer in Canada, you practically need an undergraduate degree, that is BA, BSc, or engineering, and then you have to pass an LSAT, which is called as a lawyer school admission test. There are 7 law schools in Ontario, but you can do in entire Canada, maybe in British Columbia, Calgary. So it's a 3-year program, common law. So there are two things, common law and a civil law. So civil law is only Quebec, but a common law is rest of Canada. And so you do 3 years of law school, and then you do a year of your bar exams and articling, and then you become a lawyer. Now, having said that, generally you need a graduation, but there are cases that after year 13, meaning that you pass grade 12, then you do 1 year of your undergrad. And if you are exceptional student with great community service, a good GPA in your grade 12 and the first year, and you pass LSAT with the good grades, there are cases that they have admitted them as well without the graduation.
Okay, so there's 2 questions here. They're basically related. Why did you choose to start your own practice, and how did you start your own practice?
A good question. As you know, that the only thing I have done in my life is the legal and the community service. So when I came here, I had only one option to be qualified to become a lawyer. So I was a lawyer in India. I was working with the financial institution in the corporate, but I had my law from there, from Delhi. So I have to qualify myself. So I have to study 2 years. So first year was that I have to write 8 exams to be equivalent to the Canadian LLB. And then I have to do my articling and a bar to be called to the bar. But I spent additional 1 hour to complete my master's in law as well. So those are the requirements. What was the second part of the question?
How did you start your own practice?
Okay. So how did I started my own practice? So when I was completing my my bar, I was offered, you have to do an articling. So there was a downtown firm by the name of Binamishi Smith who specialized in human rights, constitutional and tax law. So I got articling position there and I articled with them. And then I worked 2 years with them as an associate. And after that, the senior lawyer retired and I had no option. As I told you, at the age of 41, generally the employers that, and let me to everyone, to all the listeners, there's a lot of difference 20 years before and now. At that time, still the tolerance towards the immigrant population or the racialized population was not that much as it is today. So when I used to apply for the jobs and all that, I never used to get a call from the federal government or others. So I came into my own practice, and in a way it helped me a lot because it gave me a lot of freedom in doing what I need, and especially the community service for which I have been involved for 35 years.
One last question. Why did you become a lawyer?
I had no other option. As I told you, this is what I have done. And so 2 reasons for that, just to give you a holistic view. So first is that I have to bring a food on my table. So I had to do something. And the second thing is that I find it the most satisfying profession I have found because it helps the people coming out of their miseries and pain. And it really gives me a satisfying, as my fellow panel member was telling you, Mr. Parhar, that he works 13 to 14 hours a day, but he never feels it because he helps the people in getting to their homes, which they like. And I help them in getting their problems over from the legal, because we take them and make sure that they also enjoy their home or other issues without any pain and suffering. So in a way, giving back to the community is quite satisfying. And that was the reason I am into this profession with no regrets.
Looks like we have actually one more question. Tell us about your first case.
The first case, very interesting question. When I was an associate, and I was an associate with that, the first case came to me was a family dispute, and they were members of the Indian community. And I did with all my pain and passion. And in fact, I was quite new. My firm did not do much of the family law. So I had another lawyer in my building who has since become a family law judge in Brampton. So I took her help in navigating the process. But what I did after 6 months, I got the families reconciled, meaning that instead of, they came for divorce, but I got them reconciled, mediated, and they were together. So my senior partner called me and he said, Diljit, I want to advise you, you don't practice family law. I said, why? He said, you won't make enough money into this because you are reconciling and you are not litigating. So that was quite interesting. And since then, I have not practiced family law. I am practicing other areas.
Okay, that looks like that's all the questions. Thank you again for talking about your profession.
And in fact, you know, what I can do is, I don't know, shall I be putting into question, and I can give you my, or if anybody is interested to reach me in private, asking for any mentorship or something, I can share my email. Is daljit@nirmanslaw.com, and you can find me on a Google as well. If there is any question or concerns you want to share in private, feel free to do that. I will be happy to sit and chat with you.
All right, thank you again. Thank you so much to all of our speakers for taking the time to speak and be a part of Sikh Heritage Month Ottawa 2021. Some quick announcements for any parents. This year, SHM Ottawa has partnered with the Manmeet Singh Pullar Foundation to help raise funds to sponsor Afghan religious minorities and to help settle them in Canada. For more information or to donate, please visit our website shmottawa.com or the Foundation's website msbf.ca. Later today at 5 p.m., we will be hosting an interview with World War II veteran Gurbachan Singh Bedi. Tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, join us to hear historian Dr. Priya Atwal discuss Maharaja Ranjit Singh. Join us next week on Saturday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for a second Kids History event. Also check out our activity book available on our website with fun coloring pages and activities, and join us for the rest of our kids events this month. For more information and registration for these events, you can visit our website shmottawa.com and you will be sent the Zoom links. Thank you so much, everyone. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you, and keep up the good work.